How you doing, everybody? Brother Keith here, the prepper and the preacher. Let's just get into this topic of long-term storage for oils and fats. A lot of us as preppers, we want to have a way of getting some oil in our diet, some fats. We need those in our diet. There's a lot of stories out there of people who, like they were homesteading or out in the Old West, they would have certain animals, they're catching things and stuff, but they still died of malnutrition because they weren't getting a lot of oils and those essential fatty acids and things of that nature inside their body and their system. So what we're doing right now, we're just going over some of these things because there's a lot of talk on the internet, a lot of questions on what to use, what to store in terms of fats and oils for the future. Well, the most common one we see is the good old cooking oil. We see a lot of corn oil, vegetable oil, etc. in the store. These typically have a shelf life of 1 to 2 years, depending on storage conditions. If you did it, if you froze it, obviously it would last a long time. But we're talking also about grid down situations if there's no freezer. So we got to keep that in mind because a lot of the preppers, we're looking towards long-term food storage for a couple of years. If there's like a grid down situation, like a EMP, some kind of major natural disaster, or anything of that nature. One thing I found out though with the cooking oil, you can actually use rosemary, essential oil rosemary. You can add that into cooking oil and it's supposed to extend the shelf life. So I haven't done it myself, but it's just a rumor that is circulated on the internet. And I say rumor because it might be, some people say it could be factual. I'm not actually sure. I haven't done it myself, but it's something I do recommend you check into. Another method that I know of is BHT. BHT is a preservative. Boy, Hector, Tommy, BHT. You can add that into cooking oil. You can buy BHT and add it. But the flip side of BHT, it has been shown in some laboratory stories to be cancer-causing with mice and rats. And it's kind of one of those flip things. It's like, well, do you use it? Do you not use it? You can take the BHT capsules and add it into your cooking oil, your olive oil, your corn oil. You can add it into to extend the shelf life. I know some preppers and survivalists who do that. But as I said, BHT has been shown in studies to cause cancer. But I hate to say this to you, you probably already consumed BHT in your diet. BHT is actually used in a lot of the food supply in the United States. It's in a lot of foods to extend the shelf life already. So in many of the, if you take a look on some of even your breakfast cereals, you'll see BHT is included in some of your breakfast cereals to extend the shelf life. So don't sit there and think, well, I have never eaten this stuff. You might have already eaten it, you just don't know it. So it's just one of those things, again, you make the decision if you want to sit there and take a capsule or two and pour the BHT inside your oil, shake it up, and stir it for long term. I don't know in terms of the effect it's going to have on your body because I haven't done it, but I know of some preppers who have done it, and that's their method of storing their oil for a long period of time. Obviously, this is butter. We can't have a stick of butter stored away for a long period of time unless it's frozen. But if the grid is down, one method is canning the butter. This is one of mine. This is canned butter. And this I've had for, I think, about a year or two stored. I open it, it's just fine. You can go ahead and eat it and use it. I know a lot of preppers who are canning their own butter. You can look online about with classes. There's a few people even on YouTube who's showing you how to can butter. And that's, it's one method I recommend for having some extended fats and stuff put aside. Another thing, this is butter ghee. This is used a lot over in Asia, over in India, overseas. I actually bought this one overseas and brought it back with me on one of my trips over to the UK. You'll see, when you read it, you'll see some writing in different languages on the container. But these last a little while, and there's no refrigeration with this, just like the canned butter. These, you put them inside this tin right here, you put it inside the shelf. Obviously, if you keep it in a nice, cool, dark environment, they'll last for quite some time, for a couple of years, even beyond the use-by date. So butter ghee, it's a little bit different. You can go on YouTube to see just a difference in how it's made and used, from like how they boil the butter down and extract some of it, and how they get what is called the ghee. But this, you wouldn't necessarily spread it on bread, but you would use it in your cooking, and you could use it in a lot of recipes as well. So this is good stuff for long-term storage. Another way, for some of you who do eat pork, if you have canned bacon or canned pork, the fats and the oils, when you can bacon or canned pork, will build up inside. So you can see this. This is canned bacon I've had for about 2 years. I really don't touch pork much, obviously because of religious reasons, but I'm not so religious where I'm stupid. I would still, if in a survival situation, if I had to eat it or if I had to use it for fats for cooking or things of that nature, I do believe because some of the scriptures, it can be blessed, and I still eat it. So this is just for some preppers out there who, if you have canned pork of some kind, canned bacon, there's always a fat deposit and oil deposit inside in the canning process that it's still actually good to use for some of your cooking needs and things of that nature in the future. Obviously, it's a negligible amount. It's not that much, but hey, you can still use it. My number one recommended method for long-term food storage of storing oils, the healthier way, yeah, you could do the BHT way, and that could last a long time. If we're talking about grid down, no refrigeration now, I would recommend coconut oil. Now, there's different types of coconut oil. There's virgin coconut oil and real refined coconut oil. These are both coconut oils, these two. This one is refined, this one is extra virgin, so there's less processing with this one. But they both last for years, and especially when we're talking about lack of refrigeration, as long as you keep them under 78 degrees. So if you have them somewhere and they're nice and in solid clumpy form, these are excellent to have. I don't know if it's possible, if my camera person can take a zoom up, or I'll walk up closely to show you the date on this particular coconut oil. If you notice it, it's February of 2010. Right now I'm in December of 2015 making this video. If you can see where my finger is holding to February 2010. That's how old this oil is. And this was just kept at shelf life. Okay? So this oil is old already by standards. Natural shelf life. It's been 5 years old. It came in a container like this. This is just another one that I have. And it's filled up in solid form. When it goes past 78 degrees, they get liquidy and real loose and white when it goes past 78 degrees. So as long as you keep it in your house, even in a grid down situation, you should be able to keep this in a solid form. If you keep it in a cupboard, the basement, the shelf, it'll be in nice solid form. This will last for years. There's a lot of people right now who are online who will say coconut oil cannot last past 2 years. Well, I'm one of those people. I say, let's just prove it. Because there's other people online, as well around the world, who saying coconut oil can last for 5 to 10 years. And I'm siding with them because I have it right here, coconut oil that's 5 years old, that I'm still eating, and it's absolutely fine. So if you can store it in a nice, cool, dark place, you're going to get minimum 5 years out of it. This one is almost done, which is 5 years old. I've seen a little bit of brown spots that could be signs of rancidness. One or two little spots, but it's nothing much, and the oil tastes delicious. It cooks well, and I put it in a lot of dishes. So you're going to get at least 5 years of natural storage with coconut oil, and that's unrefined and refined coconut oil versus the virgin and the non-virgin. So I think that's the best one for long-term food storage without using chemicals and preservatives of that nature, like some of the stuff I discussed. So thanks again for tuning in, checking out your friend, Brother Keith, the author of the book, The Prepper and the Preacher. The last oil that I do recommend is the oil of the Holy Spirit. Okay, if you get that oil, all these other oils won't even matter. Get the oil of the Holy Spirit that only comes from Jesus Christ, and that is going to be your best prep of all. Thanks for tuning in.